Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you had a good day in the market. It's August 14th. Thursday? Yes, Thursday. We're going to review the 0-day options today. I took on SPY and small count challenge I'm working on. I still have this like weird lingering sickness. It's like I got over it, but then it's kind of back. Yeah, it still feels like kind of a Chinese thing where I just don't feel myself. I just feel a little weird, fatigued, headaches at night. Like last night was affecting my sleep. Today the headache slowly went away, but I just feel like tired and don't feel like focusing. Anyways, yeah, this morning I just did not feel like the stress of managing risk, and so I just didn't take trades that I saw. I mentally took them, or I just was lazy and just did a limit order at the bid and wouldn't get filled. So I know it seems like an excuse because my mental trades were good. But anyways, it's fine. I'm just here to practice and get confidence. So that helps with confidence some, not as much as with real money, but it helps a bit. So today, let's see, was today the data? Yeah, I think I heard PPI was canceled. I don't even know. I feel like if it was canceled, it would have been bigger market reaction. So I think that was at 8:30. Yeah, there's PPI right there. Okay. Or that was it being canceled. I don't know. Someone said it's canceled in Discord. I didn't look into it. Don't know what that even means, canceled. So that was this morning. I guess not a huge reaction. Tomorrow we've got data, retail sales, manufacturing survey, import price index. That's all pre-market. Consumer sentiment at 10. Business inventories at 10. So yeah, we're still kind of in this wedge. Here's SPY day tradings. 30-minute chart. It's Eric, SPY day trading on YouTube. Let's see, we had a gap down. Is that today? Yeah, gap down. Came up, filled the gap, but we're just kind of in this wedge still. So looking for green as resistance and yellow or blue. Looks like yellow, but we're also could be in this buying channel still, this deeper one. So just a lot of liquidity right here. Friday move, we might get it outside of this range. Maybe a 5-day retest. Maybe it happens pre-market, I don't know. Or maybe a continuation of the upside. Yeah, we'll see. But on the 1 minute, I was a little late this morning. Let's see. Was I? Maybe I wasn't actually. I can't remember, honestly. But here's where I started charting. I haven't compared it with Eric or Emperor. I glanced at their charts later or Emperor's later in the day just to see what he had going on. So I had this purple one here, purple, and then gold, and then white. Those are the ones I charted this morning. This green, but I wasn't too confident this later in the day. I changed these around a little bit. So we just kind of started rallying up, and that's when this gold I saw started forming. Didn't have a liquidity grab right here, so we had a nice head shoulder here. Didn't grab it, rejected. So if I had a steeper selling right here, you could have maybe gone long once it broke that, once you saw that it was rejecting that. But that's too early for me. I maybe missed the morning actually. Anyway, my first mental trade was, let's see. So I saw this little cup that closed right here. I know it's small, but it is a cup. And that was, yeah, we still hadn't filled the gap. So I thought there could be some room for upside. We're just in the middle of this big wedge though. So, yeah. So anyways, my first mental trade was actually right here. Calls. Once it broke purple, and then I had the white there, and it did a little bounce on white. So my stop could have been white, could have been lower. I'm going to try and be careful. Early in the morning, I think you can kind of be more aggressive with the selling or buying channels, but later, sometimes we'll just not be as aggressive unless the volume comes in. So anyways, stop tension that white or just back at this horizontal level for the calls there. And then problem is taking profits, but I looked at the contracts that were like 25%, I think, for this move. It didn't quite retest the top of this orange. So then their close would just be break of the white. So didn't take that one. Happened again right here, and I actually put a limit order and it didn't get filled for calls. Exact same thesis, just grinding up in a channel. Then at this point it's becoming a support. purple had been broken. Yeah, so cup to close, made a handle, and just kind of, you know, buying channel and looking to fill that gap to the upside. So I don't think I didn't take either one of those trades. So part of the problem with that is then you start getting a little bit of FOMO when you mentally trade and they're successful. Like, oh shoot. I think first trade I tried to take was first trade I tried to take was actually literally right here. I know it's like hard to believe because I don't have any. Well, you maybe could see. Let me see if it's actually. I don't think E-Trade shows canceled trades. No, it just shows filled. Oh, canceled. Oh, okay, yeah. But yeah. What time is that at? 10:52. I think that was my first one. I didn't realize I could do that. Is that it? Yeah. So that was my first. If I can bring that over. Well, here's my trades today. Little green day actually. Tiny. I get back all my small profits in the day. Just dumb 10-minute move. And it wasn't even 10 minutes, last 30 minutes, but happy to be green. My mental trades were good. But yeah, there was that canceled trade. So I had a limit order on it, but here's the time, 10:52. It was a limit, it didn't get filled. Those puts at 10:52. That's nice, I can see the canceled ones. So that was right here, and the reason for that was nice shoulder liquidity. This was a retracement trade, basically. As Eric calls it, a zombie, zone of mutual interest. Bulls and bears have consensual agreement to bring it down, or desire, or yeah, basically. So that was at 10:30, close to it. Let's see, 10. Yeah, so just after 10:30. Part of the reason I was taking that also was because we had just retested the top of this green as resistance on this. The gap had been filled. So that's two things that made me like it as a retracement. Third one was the shoulder and this nice sprouting head. And then another one was that it was rejecting this yellow. I know it kind of broke out of it, but the fact that it came back in it and kind of engulfed, I was like, okay, yeah. So I liked it for a retrace. Back to gold, potentially back to VWAP. Yeah, so this one I didn't get filled, and I almost even could jump back in here, but I was just kind of out of it. Didn't feel like managing risk. So didn't catch that, unfortunately, because that ended up being a nice one. If I had one contract on that, I probably would have closed it on this candle or one of these ones around gold. I don't think I would have held through here. Maybe if I had a second one. But this contract right here actually went, I think it was like 60 or 70%. So I need to start thinking like that. That's another thing I was going to say. There's been times where I've been like, oh, I just need to get 20% on a move. Like, I'll just scale up, and if I can get 20% on a trade, that's amazing. Of course, you can't consistently get the same percentage. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. And when you have a higher percentage winners, you can't, you need to have room to have higher percentage gainers so that you can afford your losses, your losing trades. So, but thinking back on that, like being able to scale up and just be content with, 20% or whatever the percentage is really what I need to focus more on. A lot of days you're not going to have continuation where you have, 500% or whatever. You'll have failed continuation, a lot of retracement. Now you can get bigger moves if you're catching them on the edges of the wedges, basically. Like this would have been a nice one, especially if you had more than one contract. Nice price action day, really. But yeah, so thinking about that, it makes me want to just kind of try and just do one trade a day and just scaling up on it, and kind of scaling into it also, which I try and do. Like if I have a lot of conviction about it and I enter, and usually my first entry is on a break, so then I'll have, oftentimes it'll retrace some, I can get even a better fill, and that's when I kind of add into it. I haven't had the opportunity to do that too much lately. I think I've done it once this week, twice this week, maybe. But yeah, so anyways, this ended up being a nice head and shoulders. Grab the shoulder here, but see if you're if you're taking it when it's grabbing the shoulder, it doesn't always work like this, but then you just have this liquidity built and just chop down to here, and then you don't know. This could be the low, this could be the low. Won't necessarily do this. Another trade that I mentally took was this one right here. I didn't mentally take it, I just saw it and I'm like, I wonder if I should take that. And I just didn't really feel like it, but basically at my support here, made a nice little mini head and shoulders. So this one and then this one, and so there's probably a little bit of FOMO. I just kind of wanted to get involved now that I had two trades that I just kind of let go, and that will explain my very first actual trade that I probably market ordered because I didn't want to miss it, even though it was not as good. That was a put at 11.35, so made this big move. Until we can close the inverse cup, though, this could still be kind of a bull flag, especially since we're in that wedge. So it came down. Yeah, so basically a little head and shoulder here is what I was thinking, and it hadn't completed the inverse cup, which I figured it would at this point, but you don't always get continuation. And so I was in on this candle as I was grabbing that shoulder. Didn't have like, I didn't have a lower channel to justify it being inside a wedge still, even though it probably was. So that's one thing. If it retraced all the way back up here and kind of retested, that would have been a much nicer trade, because just could have been retracement back down, as well as potentially another, you know, head and shoulders and a high, much higher high, or higher basically, to enter short for your take profit being down here. Because from here to here, the risk to reward's like, I guess my risk is I'd stop it basically right here, and I'd probably take it at low of day unless it was a big fleshy candle, and then there's 5-day right down here. So but yeah, that one didn't end up working out. But since I got, let's see, it was a 2-cent loss, so very small. Once it broke this purple, yeah, that's when I got out right there on that. I was like, that's the only thing I wanted to sell in, is that purple. So stuck to that, which was good. Closed out of that one for a small loss. 12.07, I was in another put. Then it made a bigger head. This was all ended up being a shoulder. And this one, so I put in this white. It was a little bit later I put in this white one, which is a little less aggressive because my gold might not have been right, but I thought maybe there could be both. So this one's actually interesting. Broke my gold right here, and I got on the next candle kind of for a retest. And then a little bit later, after it started doing this under here, I'm like, interesting. And then I put in this white. So yeah, it was rejecting the gold, which is good. That turned into resistance, but then there possibly was a less aggressive white one here. So I actually held through that. This one, yeah, this was a green one. Let's see, I got one at 12.07. I closed it. This was 39 cents to 48 cents. Problem with this one, I'm happy how I executed it, but yeah, it was just kind of a bummer because this, I was hoping for a move to close the inverse cup, and just lack of continuation today. Didn't happen. Did come down, and this will explain why I didn't close it here. I'm really looking for inverse cup on this one. However, if it starts going against me, I have a fail safe or ejecto seat, which is this purple, and still quite green when I closed it 12.17. So yeah, right here on this candle. So happy I did that. I didn't just hold it, just trying to force my will onto the market to come down and create the inverse cup because it looks so beautiful. Because what do you know, it didn't. And with that, then you can think, okay, it didn't complete the inverse cup, so failed continuation sometimes can mean a trade in the other direction. Entry on this one would have been a little tricky, but one way you could do it is seeing liquidity like here and then taking it on the break, and then that would be your stop. I think Emperor Eric probably had some sort of lines in here that you could have taken the break on. I suppose you could say something like that. I didn't have that anywhere else though, so I didn't take this one, but it just reminded me of that kind of insight. You know, failed continuation, flip it in the opposite direction, and there might be a trade, a retracement. So this was a large trade actually. Again, though, didn't complete the cup. So same thing, just a big wedge end up being on the menu for today. Didn't trade any of this. I put this red in from support here. Didn't seem like it had a whole lot of reaction there, but I thought maybe, because it did kind of reject as resistance there, and then kind of retested right there. Sorry, that's small. But I wasn't too sure on this one since it was kind of fresh. I had a different one, purple, all throughout here that I deleted, and it was a little steeper than this red. And then I just flipped back to this red because the purple didn't seem to be lining up. Oh, it wasn't this one. It was a different one. But then it looked like this one was legit, the way it was rejecting the resistance on there. And then if you pulled this one up, that was support. So it's like, okay. But yeah, I didn't take any trades in there. Made a little head and shoulder, but this middle of the day, we're in a wedge. I'm not interested in that necessarily. The reason why I like this head and shoulder was because it was on a break of this gold. This head and shoulder was because it already broken that, but again, you saw that didn't have continuation. I didn't have this line in here until after that did that, of course. So didn't do that trade. Next trade, 252. Oh wow, I had 2 green trades today. Yeah, I was up a little bit. Again, it was just that final trade that kind of messed me up. 252, I got to put. What was my thinking here? Yeah, nice little head and shoulders. So, okay, yeah. So this is same kind of principles right here where I didn't take it. Had another opportunity here. That's it. 250. And where's that on here? So on Eric's chart on the 30-minute, it's again hitting that resistance, that green resistance. That was part of the reason for me wanting to get a put there. It had a nice shoulder, came up, so it did like break a little bit, and I had at that point drawn this blue line right here, and I think this blue line is probably the same as the green on the 30-minute. So it like broke it, but I'm trying to be more flexible with that because it's kind of just the area necessarily. It's not going to be perfect. I'm not penny perfect on these. Sometimes, but not usually. I can't expect it. So kind of was rejecting a little bit, and where did I get it? What did I say, 252? This was actually a nice trade. Oh yeah, yeah, this one, okay. So I got 2 of these actually, because it was only 18 cents. And the one in the money was more expensive, and I was like, you know what, if it actually makes its move, you know, it could be to VWAP, which could have been 100% at least. Could even be at the bottom of this wedge. So that's why I didn't get it closer to the money. And I got 2 of them. So 18 cents, sold the first one at 258 for 26 cents. So that was, I think, my biggest percentage right there. I think it was like, let's see, 40%? I don't know, it'll probably be in the thumbnail. But it's just such a tiny move, it's hilarious. And 1 strike out of the money. That's at the money. And just on a few candles. Let's see, 6, where did I, 308, no. Oh, yeah. Oh, 258. So right here, I caught myself being greedy right here. I was like planning. I put a limit order for one of them at 100%. All right, I'm gonna close one at 100%. I'm gonna let the second one just ride for free and close it at the end of the day because it's gonna be way down here. Or it's gonna had all these thoughts going through my head, and I'm like, wait a minute, this thing's up like, it was up like 60% on some of these wicks. I was like, I need to close one of these. I have 2. So right after that, ding. I do an alert, create alert withdrawing, create the alert. Before that, of course, it dinged. I'm like, there's my audible cue. I should sell one. So sold one right there when it broke the purple, and I'm very glad I did. Didn't sell a second one because I wanted to run her in case it did continue down. But it didn't. And the second one, I considered doing a break-even stop, but I didn't because this late in the day, it's so easy to just get stopped out with just a little wick. So I was like, I'm just gonna look at price action. Wait for it to break this green, and then I was like, maybe this red. I'll give it some room. So the second close was red. So it was 18 cents to 26 on the first one, and then the second one was 15 cents. So small red on the second one. I was at 308. Yeah, so it had broken that. So I waited quite a while, but yeah, I wasn't at that point, like I said, I wasn't too trusting in this green because I hadn't really seen it showing up much, even though right here it might have been breaking and then retesting. Anyways, so that's why I waited until all the way to those red, and on the next one I closed it right there. So, but yeah, at that point I was up pretty good, and then one stupid trade at the end. brought me back to about break even. 327 to 330 call. Right here. Okay, yeah. Yep. So I considered, since I was already in that trade, yeah, since it's already in that trade, it's hard for me to think of calls, but I did think, okay, it's flipped that. It's broken this red. It's also broken out of this new line I put right here. Like I could flip into calls right here. I didn't because a couple of reasons. One, I thought it could stop right here. There's just a lot of resistances up there because this could be a cup. You might want to make a handle. Yeah, end of day, could want to VWAP. And I'm like, it very well could also go all the way up to high of day. Like that's a possibility. However, we have that closer cup. And then at that point also, we were still right at the resistance of green. So I'm like, I'm not going to take it. But I definitely should have. Because yeah, this breaking that and the retesting. It's another one of those risk to reward trades where I kind of talk myself out of it. Because I'm thinking it's not a whole lot of upside. But it's like if I have confidence in a trade, I need to just take them and just learn to take those and lean into those and scale up on those and then just screw off on the rest of them. So yeah, that was kind of, it's okay that I didn't take it, but yeah, mental capacity today was a little bit off. 327, 330, yeah. So that last trade was a bit red, 38 cents to 29 cents. And then I did a couple trades on the big account and I was red on them because this was ugly. Cup completed, handle looked nice, but just failed to continue on the way and end up going to VWAP actually by close. Yeah, hopefully back at it tomorrow, feeling a little better. I actually had a coffee and that made me feel better. All messed up. I haven't had coffee in a few days and yeah. And looking at data with AI, I wanted to mention, so Copilot's like not great for that kind of stuff. I've been testing them all out now. Gemini is pretty good. It's not conversational basically, so it doesn't it's not kind of ongoing. Sort of is, but not really. Actually, ChatGPT has been probably the closest to like kind of a mixture of both, and maybe the best. They're all pretty annoying in that they lose data, and like if you're not continually prompting them, they kind of go to sleep or stop working on whatever they're working on for you, and then you have to re-upload whatever you're doing. It's like, I'm sure if you had a paid version, you could get past all that, but yeah, I guess that's what you get when you get one for free, but it's still very helpful. And with that, I think I'm getting some better, more accurate data of my trades. And it looks like I'm actually trading better in the middle of the day and Thursday and Friday, which I think before was the opposite, but I'm not positive on all this yet, but I could see that because it's just made me buckle down and be more picky on when I'm normally not trading well. And so I'm being more picky, so I'm just trading better. Because yeah, Fridays, I've had pretty good Fridays the last few weeks, and then got kind of these midday moves. But we'll see. I've still got to crunch into the data. Thanks for watching, guys. Sub up, like up, comment down. Happy money sticks around. See you tomorrow. Peace out.